Hello again. And here is a bunch more junior size Indian rock artifacts. Not so much the smaller child size, but more of the junior Indian size artifacts. You can see them in here. There's quite a few of them. I can't concentrate on every one of them. I can just show you a few of them. This one here looks like they were just using this as a smoothing rock. Pretty much just a decorative rock. It's also more like a smoothing rock. They could have ate with these. Any one of these they could have ate with too. They could have used them as some kind of a spoon or something. And they do have some sort of a animals on most of them. It's just you just have to look and see where they're at. This is also a rock artifact here. Probably most likely went in the stick like that. But these are junior size. There's also another one. This is has a face of some kind of maybe an alligator, an eye, nose, mouth, or nose area. This also is a tomahawk. It would have went inside the stick right here on the end and stuck out that way. This side here looks like some sort of an animal. There's an eye and a mouth here. Maybe it represents a shark or something. Here, this was probably a fish of some kind. Well, it looks more like a prehistoric type animal or something. Maybe not. I don't know. There's an eye, and that's a nose area. It's hard to say. Could have been a horse because there's an ear. Most likely, like I said, a tomahawk of some kind. These are all like little tomahawks. This looks like it must have been a smoothing tool for smoothing something very smooth here. And it's also got some kind of eye or an eye or a nose. And they would have held it pretty much right here. Junior. Just about anything I pick up here, there's an eye and ear, nose. Pretty much almost everything I pick up, it's some kind of an artifact of an animal of some kind. This is actually went into the back of the stick like that. It's a little tomahawk there. Pretty cool. You can see how old this stuff is, all the stuff stuck on there. Hard to say what that is. May not be much. Looks like it may be a frog or something. There's an eye, and that'd be the face. That could be an eye of some kind. Since that side's covered, it's hard to tell what face was on that side. Yeah, I can't tell, but this is also an Indian artifact. Here's some kind of looking animal. There was an eye and then a nose. It's hard to say what that was. Probably went in the stick on that end there. It's hard to say. And they actually could have put it on the stick like this too, because it looks like there's an eye and a nose. They could have mounted it into a stick like that, basically. Here's another one. It's also another rock artifact. It looks like it may be a fish. Got the big hump up there. It could have an eye here and like a fish face of some kind. Here's another some kind of an animal, because these actually represent legs here. Kind of hard to tell, but that's what they are. Mostly they are. Sometimes they're fins. They look like fins. This looks like more like some kind of a ground animal, because there's an eye and there's a nose and a mouth. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I'm pretty far down here. You're pretty far. The camera's pretty high up there. There's another one. It's hard to say what this was. I'm thinking it maybe is some kind of fish. Could have been a bird. Could have been a bird. Or more like this way, it could have been a pterodactyl of some kind. It's hard to say. Got the big part that goes back there, the eye, beak. Can't tell on this side. That may have been some other kind of an animal of some kind, but it's hard to tell. Looks like a fish, maybe a fish. I don't know. Also, here's a big tomahawk-looking stone here. This is actually looks like it may be a horse or a bobcat or something. But here's a ear, eye, a slice right there. So it's probably a horse. It's got like a slice for like a horse. I don't see a mouth or anything. Same thing on this side. You got your ear, eye, a nose area. I don't see a mouth. But this was also a tomahawk. Small one, it probably went in on this side. It's hard to say. Or it could have mounted on a stick on this side, and two sides would have been utilized. There's also, it looks like a fish. This is probably a tail on this end. An eye. Kind of looks cool, that eye. It's hard to tell. And then a face, or that could have been an eye and then the face for a fish. It's hard to say. Got another eyeball here of some kind, and it looks like a fish face. It's hard to tell, but this was a tomahawk. It probably went in the stick on that end. Right there, it mounted on it. I mean, it could have been mounted in it on a stick here, and it could have been double-sided. I mean, it's like a never-ending battle. I could just go out there and spin in a circle and pick this up. Almost looks like a piece of wood, like a petrified piece of wood. Hard to say. Probably went in the stick right there and was double-sided. It's because it's notched out there. And here's a cool looking one here. It's kind of, to me, kind of looks like a bird too. Could have been an eagle. That's a little lip sticking out down there. Could have been. I mean, it could have been anything. It could be a fish on that side. No, looks like an anteater on this side. It's hard to tell with the big long. And it looks like it, the way it's cut out, that it mounted on the stick like that. Anteater. Here's a nice little smoothing tool that they had. It's all lots of little holes in it. They obviously used this for some kind of grinding, and they could have ate with it too, because it's smooth on this side. They could have used it as something to eat with. Looks like it may have mounted in the stick as used as a tomahawk like that, and they tied it on up here through here. These lower areas would have held the rope on there. And then it also looks like a bird. There's an eyeball right there and some sort of a beak. I mean, that's what I see. This side may have been a ground animal of some kind. This would have been the legs, and then the head would have been right here. But again, this was a junior-sized tomahawk. Here's a small one here. Would have mounted probably on the stick like that. This could have been used as a spoon. It's got a little indentation in there. Could have been used as a spoon. Here's another little tomahawk. I mean, it has some kind of a shape of an animal here, but that 99% of them that look like this have that same shape. This is some kind of a tomahawk too. Could have been an animal that direction. They mounted the stick right here. An animal that direction. There's an eyeball there in the face. I mean, here we go, another one here. This one looks like it may have been a fish too, but they most likely could have mounted it on the stick like that, right there, and then tied it on up here. And it could have been vice versa. It could have mounted on a flat stick like that, and they tied it on up there. But it looks like it went that way. Look at that old stuff on there. Is a little smoothing tool or grinding tool of some kind. It's really rough on this side, rough on this side. So they used it on both sides. Looks like they held it a couple different ways. It could have been held since it's a double-sided one. And it also could have been a tomahawk. They could have slapped it on a piece of wood right here and tied it on and used it as a war weapon if they needed it. Also, this is also looks like a war weapon. They probably tied it on right maybe like that. But, you know, I wasn't there. I'm just more or less speculating. Some other weird-looking rocks that you'll find. I mean, I usually pick up any weird-looking rock I see because you never know what it could be. Also, here's a nice one here that's a little tiny one. It's flat on this side, so or it's not totally flat, but it was most likely used as some kind of grinding tool, and they ground it down to where there was nothing left, pretty much. But it also could be made into a tomahawk. You just put it on a stick and tie it on. Junior-sized tomahawk. I mean, everywhere. Here's also a cool-looking rock. This looked like it may have been another smoothing tool. You know, they could have held onto it like that, and it's real smooth on this side. It's also some sort of a animal shape here. There's an eye, there's a nose, and that'd be the head, more like an eagle or a hawk. Hard to say over here. Looks like it could have been an animal shape. This here looks like maybe it's a seal or something. I don't see the legs, but it looks like it may be a seal, because a lot of times seals, because they have flapper legs, so that could have been some kind of seal. This is here could have been a dolphin of some kind. You know, it really just depends on what you see, because what I see and what you see is most likely something different. I mean, I'm just kind of flipping through these rocks. So here's another little animal of some time, maybe an ear, an eye, and a nose. Also could have been used as a tomahawk. And here's a, you know, pretty interesting. This looks like it may have been a piece of wood that's now petrified. It's hard to say because, I mean, it looks like wood. It would have mounted on the stick most likely like that. They would have tied it on. And then this side, it looks like a fish. I mean, that looks like a fish to me. You know, usually because of this shape back here is where I see a fish. I mean, either side you turn it, there looked like there's some kind of eye area right there. And I don't really see other than an eye or something right there. It's got like a little beady eye inside. Not sure if you can see that. But also tomahawk. I mean, here's another one. Kind of look like a fish or something. This one here also could have been used as an eating tool, because a lot of times they'll be thick on this end and thin on this end and have a concave. So a lot of that food can stay on there. This probably would have been a children's eating utensil. And it's also an animal. Here's another cool one. Might have been some kind of a cutter at one time. A slicer, but it's also a tomahawk. It's, you know, you mount it on right there, and it's a double-sided one. Would have mounted right there. My fingers are smaller. Would have mounted. It would have been double-sided because it's got like a sharper end, and then a flat end we could use for hammering. Of course, you know, you hit somebody on the head, it hammers them. There's one. There's one that to me looks like a fish. You see a fish. You see an eyeball there. Could have been a dolphin. You know, it's pretty cool looking. This side too could have been dolphin. It would have mounted on the stick right here, so it would have been double-sided. Here's one here. This one kind of looks like maybe an eagle or something like that. I can't tell, or a fish. It looks also like it may have been a petrified wood. It's hard to tell, but that would have been a tomahawk. They would have either mounted it like that or mounted it like this. Probably most likely would have mounted it like that, right here. Well, that's enough for now. You can see there's lots of them in here, lots of different stuff. It's just everywhere. Like and subscribe. Thank you.